Thanks for joining. We are in the office of Bong County District number
This afternoon we're very humbled to be in conversation.
This is Focus on Liberia. My name is Prince.
So, Honorable Cole, this is the media. We are here to hear from your humble office as it relates to the issue of voting at the 55th legislature and the capital as well. Members of the media, welcome. Honorable Cole, your media.
The distinguished members of the press, this afternoon I'm gratified by the grace of the Almighty God to be alive and good health and very strong and healthy as we do the business of the Liberian people. This afternoon I just thought to re-emphasize our position, our communication, our written to the Honorable Plenary to seek inquiries in several national issues. Those had to do with the concentration of the LRA revenue performance. We are inviting him, and I believe that when I heard that the John F. Kennedy Medical Hospital was out of electricity and medications, and hospitals are now receive payments since the inception of this government, that's something that threatened the security, the national security of our country. So I thought that Honorable Double Jalad and the Minister of Finance should be invited to provide our information as the People's Deputy to know whether or not our revenue numbers are performing. Whether those SOEs are acting in accordance with the budget that were passed, $700+ million of the revenue envelope. And I was very, very impressed during the budget hearing when Commissioner Double Jalad lamented and said if he was equipped, he was supported properly, he could have even raised up to $1 billion. That was a very good news. And I just want to know the status of our economy as today, so that we cannot be talking about hospitals don't have drugs. We cannot be talking about schools are not receiving a payment since the passage of the budget. And we cannot be talking about teacher salaries not yet increased. Nurses that were all over the country saying, Papa, we're sorry, we want to know what is happening. And those things will be trickled based on the numbers that will be coming from the LRA collection. So I thought that the collectorate department of the Revenue Authority of the Republic of Liberia can come and give our information. And when those information are given, we want to validate them by provide from the Ministry of Finance, providing our bank statements from the consolidated accounts to ascertain the files or validate the files or whatever information that will be coming from the LRA. And in continuation of my quest to seek a proper governance system in our country, this is a very near to fight information that the director of the National Petroleum Refinery Company, that is the LPRC, the Liberian Petroleum Refinery Company, did engage the EcoBank management within the Republic of Liberia, the commercial bank, millions of dollars, questioning to receive some loans from them. And it is my understanding that the Ministry of Finance can come to validate that they issue the guarantee of that loan payment. I believe it's in violation. This information is 100% checked to be in cash. The Bank of Public Service, it means that they are in violation of the Constitution of the Republic of Liberia. Somebody at the 34 DI said loans, taxes that should be levied, those are subjected to the enactment of the legislature. Now, if you went and borrow, and somebody was raising the issue of the PFM law, when you talk about threshold, any law that contravenes the Constitution, that law is without standing. So the only constitutional provision that we have, it is an amendment. So if we did not go to referendum to amend the Constitution, so if you created or you enacted an act that says that the threshold should be below XYZ number, it needs not to go to the legislature, did not speak to the fact that the Constitution just said loans, then it means that we have some issues that need to be addressed. In foreign to this, I also went into my county and the district that I represent. Mr. Bebo Flomo was murdered in cold blood since 2022 in Cocoyard district, and this man family languaging. They are in a very deplorable condition. I understood one of his children died as a result that the mothers cannot take care of the children because their husbands were killed, and a top set were allegedly killed, and a top set were pathologists were hired by the Liberian government, the former Minister of Justice, Musa Dean, and ITAS, state ITAS at the time. My understanding, we have copies of those reports that pathologists were hired and autopsies were performed, and they say the man got killed from a high velocity of train. And they alleged that in that report that the men were killed by ArcelorMittal train, and ArcelorMittal responded and said that the train did not make any accident. So it is of interest. The body was since been deposited at the St. Kennedy Funeral Home in Banga by a gentleman who was on the scene at the very time the incident occurred, according to this report. How did this guy manage to know the exactly Mr. B-Boy Flomo was? In that the plane hit him, he was not a security officer. He took the body from the crime scene and brought the body to Banga and have the body deposited at the St. Kennedy Hospital. He was apprehended by the police under the commandership of Mr. Fasu Sheri. Later on, this man was released on the instruction of the County Attorney General Flomo. This is a breaking news, and I believe that nobody should invade the judicial process of our country. So we are inviting them to come and give us information. Now, somebody said the matter is in court. The matter is not in court. If somebody got killed and someone said, I know who did it, it doesn't mean that the substantive of that issue cannot be brought before us and we cannot exercise our oversight responsibility, because that's just an allegation. Everybody is trying to assert some information, effort to ensure that perpetrators are brought to justice. I think those are the reasons why I thought to speak to the press today to let you know, to let the Liberian people know, if these ordinary people cannot get justice in our country, in our judicial process, then we have a problem. So I want to say thank you for giving us the opportunity to air our opinion.
Thank you, Honorable Cole. Before we open the floor for questioning, there was something you wanted to talk about, the issue of the removal of the speaker, some women are infiltrating the system. Will you care to touch on that too, sir?
But you know, being an experienced lawmaker, and if I'm coming from way down the line, that I've been schooled through the legislative politics of our country, and when you see these kind of rumors permeating in the corridors of the legislature, this is not something for you to go about, because for speaker removal conversation to start, there are several factors and indicators you'll begin to see. Number one, maybe a resolution will be drawn, and you'll see people going to sign, and they say, and you must have probable cause to have a speaker removed. And these are not things that are happening. People are just saying here, say, I say, and oh God said, we don't want to follow them. The fact of the matter, this is why even we are inviting Honorable Double Jala and the Minister of Finance to see what our numbers are performing. Yes, the fight in the corridor is some colleagues of ours. They have raised issue concerning benefits and all that kind of thing, but they have not decided, because benefit had not been paid, we're going to remove Speaker Kofa. Those are external forces trying to use honorable and credible men in this legislature, and I think that even from the opposition side, they are not inclined to think that anybody can remove Speaker Kofa. Like for me, I've understood that on Spoons TV or radio last night, people were saying Honorable Marvin, how can I be black chairman for Honorable Fonati Kofa and orchestrating his removal? If Honorable Fonati Kofa will be removed by anybody, I will be one of those defenders to protecting and provide legislative tactics to abort that plan.
Yeah.
Thank you. Question. We'll take 5 questions. Beginning with Prince Lula.
Okay, so my name is Prince, and I report for Prime FM and focus on Liberia TV. So I have 2 concerns. I'm concerned with the issue of the murder case from Bong County. So since the government gave report through the Ministry of Justice at the time, and then there was an arrest made, and the police did release the person who brought the body to the funeral home. So how did that case end? What was government's funding, and what do you want? Are you calling for retrial or so? That's the first one. Then the second one is the issue with the Amos 12 from the APRC. how much are we talking about that he allegedly authorized it borrowing and for what purpose?
Well, that's why I want to have Mr. Tweed appear before the national legislature, more especially the House of Representatives, to provide all information surrounding this loan issue. So whether or not he did borrow the money, even though what I said, we got near fight information that over $9 million thereabouts were borrowed. And then the Ministry of Finance did issue a guarantee communication to the bank, ensuring that the loan was given. So if these information are facts, we just want Amos Tweed and the Ministry of Finance to come and give our information surrounding that. If they are not facts, they will be able to come and we'll call on EcoBank to appear. That is our power, to ask them whether they have any financial transactions with these in the institutions and their actors. So if that did not happen, fine, it would be good for us. But when we are in a shackled and economy, when we see our economy being injured with all these indicators, and hospitals don't have money, and schools, students' fees hijack, teachers are not paid, civil servant salary is struggling to pay. So, and we're hearing somebody borrow $9 million to improve things and to extend facilities. So it's something to look at. Because if we are borrowing $9 million at this time, we should be talking about putting it in a hospital to protect the lives of the very ordinary nurses and doctors that were questioned for this government to come to power, not to use it for obvious purposes. Now you talk about the findings from this gentleman that got killed. That autopsy report and coupled with the police information was this man did take the body from the crime scene and brought the body in Banga, and the body was deposited at the Kennedy Funeral Home. So then what happened? The prime suspect were apprehended, later released. That's where I am concerned. On what grounds? This matter had never been taken to the court. The matter had not been adjudicated. The gentleman that got killed body still lied in Kennedy Funeral Home in Banga. And then you see somebody moving up and down, the family suffering, they can't get justice. I've engaged the former Minister of Justice. I got involved and they told me they've ordered an autopsy and they got the pathologist to come in the country and they perform the autopsy. And his report was high velocity or plane hit this man and killed the man. Now, you allege that it was Asalameta. Why the government of Liberia have not arrested or taken Asalameta to court? These are the things we want to find out.
Emmanuel Colley.
Thank you, Honorable. My name is Emmanuel Colley and I report for the State Broadcaster. Receiving the $1 billion that was said by the Commissioner General of the ARA, Dr. Jala, during his confirmation is an uphill task that involves everyone. Now, what specific information do you want, when I say you, the legislature wants him to provide, and what was plenary decision for his appearance?
Well, plenary decided based on the communication I wrote that he should appear to just tell whether our revenue numbers are performing. Take for instance, I've understood that the Ministry of Transport came. Let's say the Ministry of Transport number that were assigned were around 9 million. And the Ministry of Transport telling you in the first and second quarter or going to the third quarter, I've been able to raise $5 million. Then it means that we are good. In the fourth quarter, that we believe our revenue numbers should actually perform because importations will be taking place, the port will be busy, people will be coming for vacation, so many things will be happening. But if Mr. Dr. Jala comes and says, no, this information are not true, then it's something to worry us. That means JFK will suffer more, John S. Kennedy Medical Hospital or Phoebe Hospital in Bong County. Let me tell you, even CB Doma Hospital will suffer more latches because if the revenue numbers are performing, they want to know why it's not performing and what we can do to mitigate the crisis that may come ahead of us. Because you remember, the president wrote, he sent a caveat that they are going to be watching. If the 692 now performing the contingent budget, the figure that we're placing contingency, it will not be something to look after. So all of us are careful with what is happening. So we need to be careful when we are in almost in the third quarter, going to the fourth quarter. We want to know whether our numbers are performing. And that can only be validated by the ministry. When LRA speaks to us, the Ministry of Finance will have to tell these are our available balances in the consolidated accounts. Maybe we might go beyond audit to ensure that what Ministry of Finance will be providing to us will be the facts.
Ronald George.
So, Honorable, my name is Ronald George, and I work for Iranians. My question is similar to that of my colleague. When you took the floor to expand on your communication, you laid the basis of a fear of having a budget shortfall, that for which you are fighting, especially LRA authority. Now, my question is, what is the fear? What negative impact is the budget shortfall going to have on the state?
But let me just tell you, as I sit here as a lawmaker and colleagues of our, some of the crises at Capitol Hill, all the things that you are hearing lawmakers or maybe people agitating, vehicles have not been provided by this government for those new lawmakers, including us, provided by law that every 3 years you should be able to provide vehicles. Even for me to be retained as a lawmaker, it's clear. If I work for 15 days, I should be paid. I did work for 15 days as a members of the 54, and I worked for another 15 days as members of the 55th. And I will only pay once. That is, I got paid as members of the 55th, not members of the 54. These are things that are of concern. Now, I will continue to piggyback on JFK. If the major referral hospital in our country is out of electricity, is out of medications, and our people in the hospital cannot get feedings. See, for example, I'm going to Bong maybe day after tomorrow when I heard that CB Doma, the infilling program, have been called off because no money is something to worry us. Because that is the fear we have. We will have more catastrophic crisis in our country if the budget is not performing. I am hoping if you came to rescue, you must have the intelligence to rescue. You cannot come to rescue and now the rescue leading our people to perish. That's a very serious matter that we want to know that the numbers are performing. If gasoline had not been provided to the House of Representatives for maybe 4 months, it's something of concern. Now you tell them maybe there's no financial space. For example, I am not saying that is in total facts, but if you are saying there is no space, and then we want to know from the LRA whether these things are true. Now, all of those basic social services that should be provided to our people, if I am a sitting lawmaker, I cannot get a vehicle, I cannot get my basic benefit, then it means what happening in the various schools, the public schools around the country. There is something to think about. That I cannot go back and know whether Dolo Current Buffer had chalks, Dolo Current Buffer had all the instructional materials provided. Because this is what the government campaign on. That's why all of us, the Liberians, we say, George Weah, you were not the best suited president for this job. It was Ambassador Joseph Yuman Bwaka. In the first 4 months, we have this kind of crisis. Then I'm afraid what will happen in 6 months and in 1 year.
Last question.
Thank you very much. My name is Prince Marvin, and I do report for Talk TV Media Network. Doing the famous Spoon TV talk show last night, one of your colleagues in person of District Number 7, Nima County Representative Honorable Musa Hassan Beleti, said that those that are orchestrating the issue of the removal of the speakers are people that are afraid of audit. And you being the members of the 54 National Legislature then, now currently member of the 55th, what is your stance when it comes to the issue of auditing the House of Representatives?
But anybody who is afraid of auditing, it means that you got a problem. Because he who comes to equity must come with clean hands. The law of equitability states that if you're coming to preach, you must come with clean hands. You cannot be living in glasses and throw stone. So if you know that you are clear, yes, we should not have any issue to be audited. But the first thing is we want to look at the law that provides for everyone, because I've read the GACI, that all government entities should be audited. Now, if it is necessary for us to be audited, we should be audited. That's what we should be able to talk about. So I am not the one who did that communication. Musa Beleti needs to be asked what he thinks, what he's saying, what he wants to understand. Those are things of his opinion, because every lawmaker has interest in different specifics of issues. So for me, I am not saying want to trash audits aside, but if audit is necessary, if somebody requested for audit, any day, anytime, I will vote for audit because I know my hands clean. Because let me go back to Spoon TV. All of you, the media institution, I hope that Spoon reporter is here. This is the only country where, on one side, somebody who was indicted presiding over an issue talking about accountability when you are an indictee, but people clapping for that individual. Now he indicting and besmirching people high in character. Like you are saying that I, Honorable Marvin Core, part of a system to remove the speaker. Now you know the gravity, you know what it has on my character and my credibility, national and international wise. You don't just go and sit on the radio and just speak on a blanket statements and no facts. That's what Waterspoon is doing. Sometimes Waterspoon is doing. You just make allegations. And these allegations don't have facts. They are baseless, completely erroneous and malicious. That's what he does. But people going buying into that. Because to come out and say Honorable Marvin Core is orchestrating, you must have near facts information that you can point at. How can that be just a black chairman? One of the persons who have been accused even by colleagues that Honorable Marvin Core is one of the persons that Fanatic Kofa listen to almost 80% of everything he says, which is not true. But we have a relationship with Fanatic Kofa from 2017. Let me tell you something. And I want some of my colleagues who will listen to me to understand this. If I have been with Fanatic Kofa from 2017, it means that we have built relationship from 2017 up to 2024. That more than 6 years almost. So if he's meeting you today, I can tell you, even Jesus Christ from heaven. I don't even know whether some of you go to church and you are Christians. Jesus had a simple thing. He had 12 disciples. In fact, there were 72. Then from there, he had 12. Out of the 12, he was having 3. Out of the 3, he was having one person called John the Beloved. So I don't care what you do. Somebody, the leader must have, somebody has to have the ears of the leader. Whether that 2%, whether that 3%, it will happen. So to no disrespect to our colleagues, some of the issues they are raising here, they are important issues to look into. They are very, very important. And that's why we call on all 73 of us to be patient, to know that we are in 6 months of the transition period, and then the government promised us, if the government is not delivering on their promises, the deliverables are not coming, it's not on the heads of Fanatic Kofa. We're going to put the Ministry of Finance feet to the fire to provide those basic social services and to give our just benefit that we're working for. So it's not Fanatic Kofa's responsibility in entirety. His responsibility is to ensure that the Ministry of Finance accounts for their actions, and that's what we are doing. That somebody that making a right and say, Double Jala, please come, my brother, to tell whether our numbers performing. Ministry of Finance, please give our bank available balance so that somebody, I'm not saying they are playing politics, but it's very possible somebody can be orchestrating these things to hold a benefit and stay a commotion at the lower house and undermine the leadership of the lower house. And if the numbers performing, then the finance ministry will be mandated, unconditionally mandated, to ensure that we have our benefits or not legislative actions to be taken against the minister.
Thank you, Honorable.
Thank you very much.
Thanks for following me. My name is Prince. This been joined in every year. We'll let you reporters at the house. Thanks for following. Bye bye.